And we are going to start at the last source on page 74. It therefore seems that all agree that lighting Shabbat candles on Erev Shabbat is a fulfillment of Kvod Shabbat, even if the enjoyment of the resultant light on Shabbat itself is also a fulfillment of Oneg Shabbat, according to Oneg Shabbat, according to Rabbeinu Tam. Indeed, the Rambam also writes that Shabbat candles are a fulfillment of both. And here's the source from the Rambam. Lighting a candle for Shabbat is not optional, i.e., it is not a matter about which, if one wants, he may light, but if one does not want, he may need not light. Neither is it a mitzvah that one is not obligated to pursue until one performs it, like iruvei chatzerot, or washing hands before eating, which one need not perform if one does not carry on Shabbat or eat bread. Rather, it is an obligation. Both men and women are obligated to have a candle burning in their houses on Shabbat. Even one who has nothing to eat should beg from door to door in order to buy oil and light the candle, as this is included in Oneg Shabbat. And halacha 5 in that same chapter, one must prepare one's house while it is still day on Erev Shabbat out of Kavod Shabbat. A candle should be burning, a table prepared, and a bed made, as all of these are for Kavod Shabbat. I'm passing it to Vanessa.
Can I ask a question? How did they come up with 2 candles?
Beautiful. So I don't know if they're going to say it. They're certainly not going to say the next few
Rivka,
things.
what page are we on? Sorry.
We're on, we just went from 74 to 75. We're going to do it, Vanessa, possibly today, possibly next week. I don't know if we're going to do it. I'm going to be traveling next week, but I should be back for the week after.
Are you coming here?
No, actually, I don't want to say anything because I'm like so nervous about an Ayin Hara. But we're going away, my siblings and my parents, for my mother's 80th birthday.
Oh, Kaneno Hora.
Oh, nice.
I'm
Beautiful.
really excited. Thank God. But like also my in-laws were supposed to come for Pesach and that went south in a really bad way. So now I'm like, I don't want to breathe till it happens. But yeah, Bezrat Hashem. So
Beautiful.
thank God.
Okay.
So
Am
we're
I
gonna do
on?
it next. So I'll give you the short answer, but we're gonna see the sources either later today or the next time, and that is that one is for Zachor and one is for Shamor. One is for like in the 10 Commandments, the commandment to keep Shabbat is given with a different word each time. One is Shamor, to keep it, to guard it, and one is Zachor, to remember it. So we have both aspects of those of those 2 ideas in Shabbat. So we light a candle for each. But I imagine that's what they're going to get to. I haven't seen it, but that's what I've seen previously.
Nice. Okay. Thank you very much. That's the best part about learning. You find out why.
Yes.
Then it starts to make sense.
Yes. And even I found when I started learning, even the fact that like you see the transmission, right? So, and we're seeing it also in the sources, like source A says this, source B builds on that, agrees or disagrees. Source C mentions both of them, agrees or disagrees. And you just see how it, even though when you first look at it, you're like, why? They're all saying different things. They're all disagreeing. How do I know what to do? But when you start learning in order, you really see the progression and you not to compare Torah to anything else, but you see also in scientific articles, like this is the original study, and then we talk about this, and then we did a further study, and we investigated that, and we did what's the word when you like look back at all the studies? There's a fancy word for it, right? When you study the studies. Sorry?
There is, but now I can't remember.
There is, but I can't think of it. Anyway, but yes, but I sometimes see that same structure. It's interesting to me.
Yeah. Very clever the way it's done. Yes.
It really is. It's such a beautiful setup. I've loved learning from this. Yeah.
What is the difference between the 2 concepts of kavod and oneg? The simplest explanation can be derived from the various examples given by Rambam elsewhere in the same chapter for kavod and oneg. Ramban. What is meant by honor, kavod? This refers to our sage's statement that it is a mitzvah for a person to wash his face, his hands, and his feet in hot water on Friday in honor of Shabbat. Among the ways of honoring Shabbat is wearing a clean garment. One's Shabbat garments should not resemble one's weekday clothes. My dog is snoring. I don't know if you can hear
No, we can't.
No.
it. What is meant by enjoying oneg? This refers to the sage's statement that a person must prepare a particularly sumptuous dish and a pleasantly flavored beverage for Shabbat. All of this must be done within the context of a person's financial status.
All right, Leanne, you're next on my screen.
Okay. The graph summarizes that Kavod Shabbat refers to the preparation before Shabbat, whereas Oneg Shabbat refers to the enjoyment on Shabbat itself.
And then I'm just going to point out that the footnote says that we're going to see in a few more sources that the Aruch HaShulchan has a different distinction. But for now, we're saying that kavod happens before Shabbos and oneg is on Shabbos itself.
The language of the Rambam in chapter 30 of Hilchot Shabbat is as follows. 4 aspects were mentioned regarding Shabbat, 2 of them in the Torah and 2 of them in the words of the rabbis, which were explained by the prophets, the commands. Remember and keep are in the Torah, and those explained by the prophets are honor and enjoy. As it says, you shall designate Shabbat as an enjoyment, the holy day of Hashem, honored. What is honor? That a person should refrain from scheduling a meal from mincha time onwards. He means that oneg is on Shabbat itself and kavod is on Erev Shabbat.
Thank you. Cindy, we're up to you.
The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat adds another aspect to the mitzvah of lighting Shabbat candles, namely that these lights facilitate shalom bayit, peace in the home. Masechet Shabbat. Rava said, it is obvious to me that there is a fixed list of priorities. When a person is poor and must choose between purchasing oil to light a Shabbat candle for his home or purchasing oil to light a Hanukkah candle, the Shabbat candle for his home takes precedence. That is due to peace in his home. Similarly, if there is a conflict between acquiring oil to light a candle for his home and wine for the sanctification, Kiddush, of Shabbat day, the candle for his home takes precedence due to peace in his home.
Which is also like a beautiful statement, right? It's like, obviously we have to prioritize if we only have 5 shekels, but we learn not just, okay, well, this we can't live without for whatever technical reason and what the pasuk says or whatever. But there's here we're sort of philosophically saying that there's that peace in the home is the most important value of these ones that we're listing, which I think is beautiful. Edele, we are up to you. Above we saw that Rashi.
I only have, I was missing a couple pages, so I have page 76 is the first one I have. So are we now?
Yeah, 76. The
Oh,
second.
okay, great, because I was listening, but I was like, wasn't sure when mine was coming up. Okay.
We caught up to you.
So which chapter?
Above we saw that Rashi explains. This it's the intro to the second source and then the second
Okay, I
source.
see it. Okay, I just missed it. Sorry, because I was just getting something
All
because
good.
my throat was dry. Okay. Rashi Shabbat
Do
23.
you want to read the intro first? The
Oh,
little orange box?
above we saw, is that what
Yeah,
you're talking?
yeah.
Okay. Above we saw that Rashi explains that light is required for the Friday night meal due to honor for Shabbat. Here he explains that sitting in the dark while eating would cause the family members distress. Rashi Shabbat 23b. Peace in his home, as the members of his household will be distressed if they sit in the dark.
Beautiful. So normally we think of shalom bayit as something between husband and wife, but here Rashi is saying, no, it's actually the peace of the entire home, right? The kids aren't going to be happy if they're sitting in the dark. The parents, the aunts, the uncles, it's not about a relationship with your spouse per se. It's actually just about the relationship between the family members and how unhappy they'll be if they're sitting in the dark. And that brings us, to me. The theme of Shabbat candles, facilitating shalom bayit, is repeated later in the Gemara, but there Rashi explains that this is because one may trip when walking in the dark. It's much more practical. So Masechet Shabbat, my soul is removed far off from peace. I forgot prosperity, which is a quote from Eicha. What is my soul is removed far off from peace? Rabbi Avahu said, that is the lack of opportunity to engage in kindling the Shabbos lights. And Rashi says on that, kindling the Shabbos lights, he did not have anything to light with, and where there is no light, there is no peace, as one trips when walking in the dark. So this, again, the peace is, again, for family members, but it's it's not only the ambiance that we're lacking, right, in our fancy meal, but it's also practically, I can't make my way to the bathroom. I can't, I'm going to fall and physically hurt myself. That brings us to Vanessa.
According to the first explanation given by Rashi, that the family will feel distressed when eating in the dark, lighting candles where one eats suffices for Shalom Bayit. According to the second explanation, that one may trip, it would seem one must ensure that all rooms being used on Shabbat have sufficient light.
Would that halacha on the candles still hold? Like if you only had enough money for one or the other, but we don't rely on the Shabbos candles for light anymore.
Right. Generally, we do not. So I guess, are you asking what if I only had enough money to like either pay for the electricity bill or buy wine for
the electricity bill's paid for, let's say, but today I only have enough money for wine or
I see.
candle.
Okay. So in that case, I wonder if we're going to talk about it later, but certainly according to these, yeah, you could then, so what you would do is you would turn it off and then turn it back on, and you would make a bracha on that because that's lighting the home, right? So you do that sometimes even in a hospital
In
or,
a hotel
a hotel, right?
My sister just came in so she's going to sit with us for a few minutes.
Hello.
Hi,
Nice to
thank
meet
you for letting
you.
me sit in.
Welcome. We're happy you're here. Vanessa, I think we may have interrupted you in the middle.
No, it's another pink. So
But I think that's part of the same one because it's in the middle of a sentence, right? Well, all rooms should have sufficient light. Do you have a
Okay.
different?
Alrighty.
Page
Okay,
77
no
is good.
problem.
Go for it.
The Aruch HaShulchan notes this distinction and links it to the understanding of the difference between kavod and oneg Shabbat, which differs from that of the Gra above. In his opinion, lighting where one eats a fulfillment of kavod Shabbat, whereas lighting elsewhere for reasons of Shalom Bayit facilitates oneg Shabbat. Aruch HaShulchan. The Rambam himself considers lighting the candle part of Kavod Shabbat. As he writes there, a candle should be burning, a table prepared, and a bed made, as all of these are for Kavod Shabbat. We must say that both Kavod Shabbat and Oneg Shabbat apply to lighting Shabbos candles, as in the place where people eat, lighting is part of Kavod Shabbat, and in the other rooms, it's part of Oneg Shabbat, in order that one does not trip while walking there. This explains when they said here, i.e., in the Gemara, my soul is removed from peace. This is referring to kindling the Shabbat lights. And when there is light, there is peace, as people will not trip and fall. As it, i.e., the mitzvah of lighting Shabbat candles, contains kavod and oneg. The sages were stringent about it and made it an independent mitzvah to the extent that we made a baracha over this alone and not over any other part of kavod Shabbat or oneg Shabbat.
Beautiful. So this is taking us back to what we talked about last week, where the Gemara uses the word chiyuv, or chovah, that it's an obligation, which it uses with another, with mayim achronim, with washing your hands after eating. And there you don't make a bracha, but here you do. So I think the Aruch HaShulchan is trying to justify why is it that we make a bracha on one of these and not the other when the Gemara is using the same word to describe both of them. And he's saying that really the mitzvah of lighting Shabbos candles contains both kavod and oneg. It's really special. It's really special to like Shabbos candles. And therefore, it's sort of considered its own mitzvah, and it justifies having a bracha made over it. I have next Brina, but it looks like your screen is off, so I'm not sure if you're available to read for us today. Oh, you're muted too.
I've just situated myself, so I can try.
Okay, perfect. So we're in the middle of 77. The Mishnah Brura writes.
Sorry, just 1 second. That's not it.
All good.
Mishnah The Mishnah Berurah writes that although, as discussed, one should have light in all the rooms to be used on Shabbat, the bracha should be recited when lighting in the place that one eats. At least one candle must be lit in each of the rooms that one goes into on Shabbat, even if he is not eating there. This is in order that one should not trip on a piece of wood or a stone. However, the bracha should be recited on the candle in the place of eating.
Thank
The
you.
reason for this, oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's the intro to the next source. I'm going to pass that to Leanne. Just you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
No, I was doing a very good job at reading, just so you know.
I believe you. I know you were.
The reason for this presumably relates to the comment of the Rama that those candles lit in the place one eats, which stem from kavod / oneg Shabbat, are the more important fulfillment of the mitzvah. The Rama Orach Chaim. The main lighting is accomplished through the candles lit on the table, not through the other candles in the house.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, look at us starting a new section, and I think we have time to at least get
We
started.
can answer some of Vanessa's question.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? If you're lighting a candle in each of the other rooms, by the time you're finished eating, those candles will have gone out.
Right.
So
So I
what's the purpose? Like, how does that help?
think that's the advantage. Like if I were to turn on a light in every room I was going to go in, I wouldn't be able to sleep. But I think the candles allow you to walk around and get what you need from your room or what. I think they had like 25 room houses,
Right,
But
right,
let's
right.
imagine. But let's say
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
2 rooms, 3 rooms, so that you get what you need. And then by the time you're ready to go sleep, it's dark already.
So yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So I'm actually going to pass it to you, Cindy. How many candles should one light?
It is clear from the singular language used in all the early sources that lighting just one candle is sufficient to fulfill the halachic requirement. For example, Shulchan Aruch uses language almost identical to that of the Rambam quoted above in source 5. Shulchan Aruch. Both men and women are obligated to have a candle burning in their houses on Shabbat. Even one who has nothing to eat should beg from door to door in order to buy oil and light a candle, as this is included in Oneg Shabbat.
Thank you. I'm passing it to Adela. You've got a big one. Do you have
Accordingly, the Mishnah Berurah writes that one who struggles financially should light just one candle and use any excess funds to buy more enjoyable food for Shabbat. Mishnah Berurah, Orach Chaim, did I say that right?
Perfect.
Okay. One who has nothing to eat. This does not mean that the person has nothing to eat at all, as in this situation would be better to beg in order to buy bread for Shabbat. As with this, he could fulfill both the mitzvah of Kiddush and the basic meal of Shabbat. Rather, the meaning is that the person has nothing of his own to eat and is supported from the tzedakah fund, but nevertheless, he must make an effort to obtain a candle for Shabbat. One who has limited funds, the mitzvah of having bread for the Shabbat meal takes precedence over everything else. The candle for Shabbat comes before buying other food, as though meat and other food is also included in Oneg Shabbat. The candle takes precedence due to Shalom Bayat as well, as will be explained further on. However, one candle is sufficient for this, and one should spend any surplus on food for Shabbat. As the Gemara says that even a poor person must prepare something small to honor Shabbat.
Thank you. So you can see how it's building up to the experience that we actually have, even though, thank God, we generally live a much more affluent life and lifestyle. But these little pieces still make such a difference in our experience of Shabbat. You would think, what does it matter? I have 20 candles. I have a 50-watt lamp. But it does. It makes a difference. I find it fascinating. All right, I'm at the top of page 80. However, the custom is to light at least 2 candles, as the Kolbo explains. I found in the Midrash Tanchuma that everything connected to Shabbat comes in 2s. 2 sheep are brought in the Musaf offering. Mizmor Shir Liyom Shabbat, the psalm for Shabbat, is described both as a mizmor and a shir. We recite the bracha of Hamotzi on 2 loaves, and the commandments expressed by the 2 words Zachor and Shamor. It seems that the custom to light 2 candles derives from this theme.
Very good.
And now it's your turn.
The Shulchan Aruch quotes this practice, and the Ramah adds that some also light additional candles. One should be careful to make a beautiful candle. Some make 2 wicks, one corresponding to Zachor and one corresponding to Shemor. One may add and light 3 or 4 candles, and such is the custom.
There we go. Brian,
Cool.
we're back to you if you have page 80, if you have access. But you're muted.
Okay. The Mishnah Berurah explains that the symbolism behind 2 customs that were common in his time, lighting 7 candles or 10 candles on a weekly basis. Mishnah Berurah Orach Chaim 263:6 add, some have the custom to light 7 candles corresponding to 7 days of the week. Some light 10 corresponding to the 10 commandments.
That's really cool. I've never seen anybody do that.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's also interesting when you talk about mikveh, like some people dip 7 times, some people dip 3 times, some people there's a lot of symbolism and custom built into these foundational experiences. Leanne, if you could finish us off, well, not finish us off, but finish off page 80.
Are we one custom, that last section?
Perfect.
One custom has become especially popular in recent generations, and that is lighting the number of candles equivalent to the number of members of the household, as mentioned in Rev Mordechai Eliyahu. Some have the custom to light candles according to the number of people in the household.
Indeed, that's the one that you see a lot of. Even though, sorry, you have a teeny tiny source today, but I'm going to pass it. You can either go on or I can pass it to Cindy.
You can pass it. I have to log off right at 10:30.
Oh, okay. We're going to do it.
Okay, this custom was already mentioned by Rav Yisrael Friedman in his Likutei Maharich and other earlier sources. The custom of the women is that when they give birth to a son or daughter, they add another candle. And the basis for it is because we say in Masechet Shabbat that as a reward for increasing the number of Shabbat candles, one will merit sons and son-in-laws who are Torah scholars. See there. Therefore, whenever a son or daughter is born to them, one increases the number of candles, since through this they will merit sons and son-in-laws who are Torah scholars.
And daughters.
And daughters and daughters-in-law. Exactly. Adela, can you take us to the last source and then we'll end on time?
Poskim writes as summarized by the Shabbat. Can you help me out?
Kihilchata.
That the custom to light extra candles only applies when a woman is at home. If she is away for Shabbat, lighting 2 candles suffices. Does this apply when she lights in her own home? When she is not staying at home, the custom is that she only lights 2 candles, and they need not be as big as the candles she usually lights at home.
Great.
So it's right when you have guests and you're like, oh, do you want to light? Do you not want to light? But those 2 little tea lights is just fine. That's fine. You don't need your whole candelabra when you're away. So, all right. Thank you. I'm very excited that we finished on a unit. Next week, Bezrat Hashem, I will not be available. But hopefully the 21st we'll be back on.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful
Thank
week.
you.
Have a wonderful 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
Mrs.
Well,
Sonnenberg,
good thoughts.
can I
Thank
speak to
you.
you for 3 minutes?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Good thoughts. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Have a great week.